I'm super excited today to share with you something for free, something that I really want you to dive into if you get the time, because it can help you massively transform your life, really, not just your IBS, seriously. And I'm going to explain exactly what that is in a second. So what I want to do today is dive in, and we're going to talk about quickly IBS inversion, what it is, what it can do for you, and stick around to the end, because as I said, I'm going to tell you where the links are and how to get your hands on that for free. There's going to be no upsell, side sell. Don't even need to put your email in. How good is that? It is literally just giving you that value. You can dive into it, see what you think. All I would ask, if you get round to it, is just send me some feedback. Ping me an email. You don't even need to leave a review. I'm not bothered about my ego being massaged online on social media. That's not me. But if you found it useful and it added a huge value, maybe you know somebody else as well that's got IBS, that's suffering with IBS. Maybe yours is not too bad, but somebody else is, and you're banging your head against the wall for them to get help. Before we dive into what IBS inversion is and what it can do for you, a quick story, you've all got time for a story, of really about me and what made me write that book and get that out into the market space online, and has already helped, a ton of men just like you as well. So what I had, most of you that have been following this channel, that have been around on the podcast that we've got Beyond Bathroom Blues, again, I'll put a link to that down below in a second, know that I was in the army for a long time, 23 years. And during that time, I went, like many soldiers in America and the UK and NATO, went out to Iraq, to the Second Gulf War. And whilst I was out there, I contracted a severe case of DMV, diarrhea and vomiting. And I guess from that point moving forward, and I also, at the time I didn't realise, had PTSD. So that, and there's a lot of studies now, and if you've got, maybe you're like me, maybe you're a veteran, or maybe you've had trauma yourself, a lot of people have. And from that point moving forward, you're like, it's funny how I've got IBS symptoms from that point. So there's a lot of evidence now that is pointing towards that could be the starting point to IBS. So something to consider. So I had IBS symptoms that gradually got worse from 2003 moving forwards. I tried yourself. I've been to the doctors for medications to calm the stomach, pain relief, supplements, bottles of prebiotics or probiotics, maybe both. I've been to Holland and Barrett, the healthcare. It's like a healthcare shop in the United Kingdom where they sell over-the-counter drugs and supplements. I tried a ton of stuff and asking various people on Facebook and all that, and I got nowhere. I got absolutely nowhere in terms of getting the outcome. Did I get relief from time to time? Yeah, of course I did. I got a little bit of relief from time to time. I wasn't in IBS nightmare land consistently, every day. So there were some days where I was okay. But then other days where the flare-ups were that bad, I'd be on the sofa, maybe in bed, just horrible. Or sat on the toilet for hours and hours and hours because I had IBS diarrhea predominant, so IBS-D. It's not nice. And so that all happened. I met Charlie Jean. She came into my life again in 2013. We then started dating. And very quickly, she, at the time, was a dietitian working for the NHS in hospital in Salisbury, and said, Glenn, I think, have you been to the doctors for diagnosis? I was like, I've been to the doctors a few times. Yeah, but have you had a diagnosis? No. Well, I recommend you go and get one because it could be, all this stuff like bowel cancer, this, inflammatory bowel disease, celiac disease, the full shebang list. I'm like, wow, okay. No wonder I've not sorted this out yet. So I obviously accepted that I had a condition. I had something. I went and got the diagnosis. And like yourself, blood's got tested and this, that, the other. They tested for, ruled out all the nasty stuff, and was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. I thought, well, hang on a minute. I've tried, and I said to Charlie, she said, what have you tried so far? And I said, this is the list. Where do I start? All this stuff. Well, she said, do you want a hand from me? That's like my speciality. It's one of the things that I'm an expert in hospital. I get doctor referrals and all sorts. I've helped men just like you, busy professional men. Do you want help? Do you want a hand? I said, yeah, I'm all in. I'm all ears. And we really then got to work over a handful of weeks. Symptoms almost gone. It was unbelievable, actually. I was like, what? Is this really going to be consistent that I can get rid of these symptoms? And she said, well, yeah, you might only get rid of 50, 60% of them. I said, well, that'll still be a blooming game changer, wouldn't it? You can imagine getting rid of half, that 50% level of improvement for I said, that'll be a game changer. I'm happy with that if that's conservative. But for me, it was 90 or 99%, shall I say. I wouldn't say 100% gone because that means cure, and I've not got a cure. Sticking with her and going through her systematic approach, it very, very quickly allowed me to establish what the triggers were, which then allowed me to tailor my lifestyle, my food, etc., and base everything around my unique IBS. Right, so that all happened, and I've had what we now call IBS mastery, quote unquote. And obviously I have my bad days where I'm stupid, I let my guard down and I eat this and I eat that, and symptoms are like, oh, IBS raises its head again and goes, hey up, I'm still here, kicks me in the stomach and I'm back in the toilet again, obviously. And if anybody tells you differently, then they're lying, okay? Because if you've got IBS, it's for life. There is no cure just yet. So with that in mind, I was skipping forward years now. I've left the military in 2019. I was living in York and getting into doing this with my wife, creating this online business, and she was putting everything into a program and various other bits and pieces. And I sat down and I said to her, look, you've done this for years, helped thousands of men with IBS, haven't you? She's like, yeah, okay. And I also reflected back on my own. Why did I not go get a diagnosis sooner? Why? Why did I not get the proper help straight away? And I did some soul searching, and I took out my journal. I've got my journal here, my old journal. So that there is full of notes, which was then boiled down into this book. I was writing stuff down, I was researching on the internet, but then I guess more importantly, I was speaking to Charlie Jean because she's been in the trenches with this, helping people. And I said, right, what are the top ways, the top things that keep men stuck, that keep men specifically, not women, not children, men. What are keeping men stuck on the treadmill and not getting help, not getting the right help off the right people to get what I have, IBS mastery, so they can dominate IBS and crush their flipping goals, fitness like me, like myself, go and do fitness and go travelling and just live your life. What are all the blocks? What are the things that are keeping it? And what we did is we after a long time, late nights, we whittled it down to what's in the book, the nine most common, as you will, traps. Now, the crazy thing is with these 9 is they're hidden in the shadows, genuinely. So it's like genuinely not your fault, because these 9 things, they happen through the subconscious mind, and we can kind of like become a prisoner in our own mind. It's crazy. Like the Matrix. Have you seen the film The Matrix, where he wakes up in the Matrix and he's got that reality? He's like, so the Matrix, where I've been living is not being real. And now I've seen reality, I can't unsee it. And it's the same with knowledge. Once you know something, you don't unknow it. Yeah, have you ever been in that situation at school or whatever where somebody's going, I've got something to tell you, I've got some gossip, and you're like, I don't know if I want to hear it or not, and they tell you something, and you can't know it, can you? You can't know it. It's crazy how. So I then got to work, obviously draft after draft after edit, and initially this book was about 250-ish pages, and I said to me, I said, look, I have read thousands of books. I am a bookworm. I've got audio books, I've got PDFs, I've got this, I've got that, a bookshelf in there, a bookshelf upstairs. I love reading. I prefer books that get straight to the point. And I also prefer books that give me an outcome. They're not just going to tell me what to do, but they're going to tell me how to do it. This is what you need to do, and you're like, cool, that's amazing. How do I put this into practice? Because I wanted to create a book for all. Because we get clients and work with them in our signature program. Writing this wasn't about the money. So I said, I want to write a book that will help everybody, regardless of whether I speak to them and hear from them one time or ever again. And that was the goal, as you will, or the vision that I had to getting that out there. And I really wanted to help people, and especially guys that are out there that are maybe can't afford to pay a premium price. But also I wanted to write something that wasn't about recipes, that didn't chat about all the BS that might work, might not work, and this, that, and the other. I wanted to write a foundational book, because remember, everything should be built on a strong foundation, shouldn't it? If you build a skyscraper, or anything, whether it's your body, a house, it needs strong foundations. Money, our finances you need to have deep pockets and have a strong foundation of finances to have that security. So we need that baseline. don't we? Just like a building, like a skyscraper in America, the foundations are huge, aren't they? They go down and down and down. Before we even start building up and think about electrics and glass and all this jazz and painting and decorating. So I thought, what do I create something that is like a prerequisite to doing anything else? Whether that's going to see an expert, a health professional, all the other bits and pieces is that prerequisite. And that was the product. That is what resulted in my vision, as you will, to bringing this bad boy out, okay? And also, as I mentioned before, not writing something that was 300 or 600 pages long. I'm reading the book at the moment, and it's good. I'm reading Walter Isaacson, Elon Musk book, and it's 630 odd pages, something like that. It's crazy. It's like that. You could wedge your door open with it. But this is like 100 odd pages, so I got it right down to the minimum, cut out all the fluff, trim the fat, and say, right. That said, so that's the backstory. Just so you're aware of that, the graft and the hours, months, years, whatever you can imagine that went into that. And obviously, like any book, when somebody brings it out, it's a byproduct of over a decade of me. Well, I've had IBS since 2003, so it's 20 odd years in the trenches with IBS. And I know that this if you're struggling with IBS, and for whatever reason you've tried stuff in the past, you've tried this and you've tried that, and you're not getting anywhere, there's a reason for that. You've got to say, right, there's a reason for that, because I'm telling you now, most men that are out there, you included, you've got to believe this. If you don't believe it, then, as Henry Ford said, if you think it will or it won't, you're right. So whatever you believe to be true, you've got to change that belief. Otherwise you'll stay trapped, and that's with anything. So the first thing, if you've got to believe in yourself of getting IBS mastery and becoming free of most of the time of these symptoms and living the lifestyle that you can live without them symptoms. Does that make sense? Once you've got that belief and you think, I can do this, visualize it. Like the big man up there says in his book and on his podcast, The Pump. If you've read it, listen to his podcast if you're into fitness. Arnold Schwarzenegger always had that vision when he was in Austria of being stood on stage and being the greatest bodybuilder in the world, all the way from back when he was 18. And he held it and he said, if I can visualise it, I can do it. And through all the trials and tribulations and all the drama, he was, how many ever times? 3-4 times Mr. Olympia. And then he visualised being an actor. For those of you that know him and have watched his films, we know the rest is history in terms of the films that he's done. And it was the same with Governor of California. So, and he was up against it, accent from a different country. His name was too long. There was all this drama, and he just thought, I believe it to be true. I visualise it. I'm going to do it. So it's the same with anything, guys. You've got to believe in the outcome that you want. And the other thing is, it's not some crazy outcome, is it, like going to Mars? It's not like you think, right, I'm going to visualise being an astronaut and going to Mars with Elon Musk. I mentioned him before. It's quite simple, isn't it? It's not easy, but the process is simple. So IBS Inversion. What is IBS Inversion? Most of this is timeless. That's the good thing. It's timeless wisdom. So what is inversion thinking? So we're looking at inversion thinking. Spoiler alerts coming. So inversion thinking is the opposite. It's framing our mind the opposite way. Marcus Aurelius did it. I explain it in the book, The Roman Emperor. There's multi-billionaires. Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, even though he's passed away now, was a huge fan. Alex Hormozi, if you're following him, all use, and there's countless other people out there, including me, use inversion thinking. Whether it's in business, in health, in finances, whatever that looks like in your relationship, whatever that. And all it is simply thinking, what are the ways you could screw something up? What are the ways of how not to do it? Because we always flipping the script. That's what we're doing. We're flipping the script because if you think about it, humans typically, we're trying to think of how to do it. Right, how can I get my IBS under control? I need to do this, I need to do that. I must try this. Can I do this? Can I do that? And you've got all this stuff. You're looking how to do it. Well, how do you stay stuck with IBS? How do you stay stuck with it? How do you stay on that treadmill, laid on your couch, stuck in the toilet, fear of losing your job and all that jazz and all the rest of it? How do you stay like that? But not only how do you stay like that, how can you make things worse? And that's what we uncover in IBS Inversion. There's exercises in there. I teach how to do it as well. So there's exercises in there. There's areas in there to write notes. So you can, at the end of each chapter, I'll show you. So at the end of each chapter, there's an area there to write notes. And obviously it takes it step by step through there as well. So there's no rocks left unturned. What that will do is it'll allow you to sit down on your own or with a loved one and identify quickly where your mind blocks have been, because we all have them. And at the moment you're watching this, you're going, I ain't got any. I have not got a mind block. And if you haven't got a mind block, then I challenge you to ask yourself, why are you still stuck with IBS? Oh, because it's such and such. Well, that's called the blame game. Again, I mentioned that in the book. It's the blame game. Oh, I'm going to blame the nutritionist or the dietitian or the doctor, or it's such and such's fault, or it's society let me down, or they haven't found the cure yet, blah, blah, blah. But blaming doesn't get you anywhere. So inversion would be, well, how do I stay stuck with, let's use relationship as an example. Let's say you're married to a spouse. So if I've got, like, my wife upstairs, I'm going to think, right, I want a good marriage. So I'm going to flip the script and do inversion thinking. How do I wreck my marriage? How do I make my marriage a nightmare and wreck it and get divorced? How do I get divorced? Well, the first thing then is I could commit adultery. As an example, I could lie all the time to my wife and family and just do things behind their back all the time. That's a good way of ending my marriage. That'll cause dramas. I could use all the money and go into debt without them knowing, and then tell them, oh, by the way, I've run up loads of debts. That's a good way of, financial problems are a great way to end a marriage. So there's 3 things, and I could do a big list. You get where I'm coming from. So all I do then for inversion thinking is I flip the script. But if I avoid those 3 things, if I don't cheat on my wife and I'm faithful, if I am honest all the time and caring and genuine, and do you see what I mean? By flipping the script around, if I don't go into debt and we're open with each other and it's not a taboo subject about money and our finances, we come closer. Do you see? And then as a result, success becomes obvious. Success becomes inevitable. You will just have a good marriage. So that's just as a relationship example. Again, no spoiler alerts. So IBS Inversion. Now it is on Amazon. I'll put a link. There's a link in the YouTube channel. I'll put a link below. If you want to go ahead and purchase a copy because you like to have it on your bookshelf or gift it to somebody, then I appreciate that. That's brilliant. I'm blessed and grateful. And there's paperback and hardback. There's all different formats. But you don't have to buy it. You can save yourself the $15, $20 or $27, whatever it costs on Amazon, depending on where you live in the world, because it's sold in different countries. It could save you that money. So if you can't afford, or maybe you don't even like reading, maybe you don't like reading books, maybe you are like my brother-in-law and you like to listen. Most people now, they like to listen, don't they? Audio books, walking the dog on the way to work, commuting. Loads of good time there, loads of areas where we can learn and grow. So with that in mind, I want to invite you to again, no emails required, no money required, to dive over to Beyond Bathroom Blues. If you're listening to this in the podcast channel Beyond Bathroom Blues, because the audio of this will be on there, the video version obviously is YouTube, then you will see in there, if you scroll down through the podcasts, then the audio version, I will put the audio version in there. We'll make sure that this is in there free of charge. So all the chapters, the introductions, everything, so you get the outcome. And you might not even need to listen to the whole book. You might be super switched on and clever and pick up on it, because I like to think that I like to keep things simple and get to the point straight away. You might be able to grasp that, okay, by chapter 3, maybe chapter 2, and you save yourself. So in 20 pages, how long does it take to listen to 20 pages or a couple of chapters? 15 minutes? So in 15 minutes, you could change your life, or certainly be on the foothills of changing the trajectory of your life moving forwards. Even if you read the whole or listen to the whole book, 100 pages, really? That'd take you, an hour? Maybe an hour and a half, if you thrash it out. Good long dog walk. So not only do you burn loads of calories on your dog walk, your dog has a lot of fun as well, if you've got a dog, obviously. If you haven't got a dog, go and buy one. If you go out for that walk, a nice long walk, a brisk walk, you're getting exercise, you're burning calories, and you are learning the wisdom to unblock your mind and step out into the known now and not the unknown. so you can get the outcome, so you know what to do next. I will share everything in there, guys. There is at the end, to be transparent, I think there is an area where you can perhaps get in touch with us or whatever, but you don't have to. You can go somewhere else. So the book was written and recorded, as you will, with that in mind, that 90% of people that read or listen to that, I'm never going to see them or hear from again. I would like to hear from you, obviously. The only ask I would have, again, I'm not doing this to get anything from it, but if I did have an ask, is that after you've finished it, that you either email me in to say what you think of it, glenn@mensibsmastery.com. Just ping me an email. Or if you're in, join the Facebook group or connect to me on Facebook. Send me a friend request and then we can DM me. And just let me know what you thought. Good and bad. Yeah? Or what you'd like to see in maybe any future books. My wife is just finishing off her book, which is going to be called, I think, IBS in Men, but the title could change. And that is going to be a deep dive on and explain everything about IBS in Men. And that's going to be a complete game changer. Complete game changer. I feel as well that we're going to give that away. So you're in the right place. So you make sure you subscribe and set the alerts, because you don't want to miss out on some of this stuff that's coming out, I'm telling you. Because this book has the power, it literally will have the power to unlock your mind and change the trajectory of your life moving forward. I'm telling you now. I'm not going to put loads of blooming reviews on here. If you find it online, there's some reviews and Goodreads and whatever else. I'll tell you how good it is. But read it. Listen to it. Okay, with that in mind then, like I said, I hope you're well. I hope that's been a help and it's added value. The links for this will be, if you're listening, again, if you're on the podcast channel, Beyond Bathroom Blues, go to the description. You don't need to read the description. At the bottom, you'll see them hyperlinked. I'll put the links to the audio book on there for free. And there'll be a link for the book on there on Amazon. But again, if you want to buy it, you don't have to buy it. I'm not asking you to buy it. In fact, don't buy it. But it's on there just in case you want it, okay? And as with the YouTube channel, again in the description. Happy with that, guys? Thank you. Take care. Have an awesome weekend. And I wish you every success. I can't wait to hear your success. That's what I want to hear. I want to know that you've got success and that you're moving forwards, because that means more to me than gold. All the best.